Hi everyone, my name is Stacey Ann and I want to thank you for joining. I want to thank you for selecting this video to watch for the next few minutes. In high school, I remember as I say, my other sisters, they were in high school as well. They were all going to Manchester High School. So just imagine the youngest of the three girls going to Manchester High School. What is going to happen to the uniform? It's gonna be a bunch of hand-me-down uniforms. So from my elder sister to my other sister and myself, yes. So white blouse would have killed me. Green uniform would have killed me. But the good thing about it is that I get a new uniform each year. So I had like tons of uniform, long, short, tight, because they were from my other sisters. Sometimes it might be a shoes that my other sister had gotten, that I decided that I'm gonna be wearing it because that's the next best thing. My mom, she would do domestic work, meaning she would go to person's house and take care of their kids or wash their clothes and all. And that's how she would normally get money for us as well, so we can actually go to school. My dad is a farmer and he'll farm like just about anything. Build coal scale, he's a mason, not by trade, but he can actually do masonry work. So he'll do whatever his hands can do in coal scale. And that was the number one thing that, like, every summer, ours was more of, staying at home and work. And it's a good thing that you never have child protective services, because if they had that in Jamaica, a lot of parents would probably go to prison. Because I tell you, we did a lot of work. We did a lot of work, especially in the summertime. So I remember in the summer, we normally would go ahead and help out with, as I said, help out with different things. But the number one thing was coal scale, making coals. So my dad would normally go over to the land that we had access to and cut down all the trees in the forest. Yes, all the trees. Just think of walking probably like say a 20 minutes or 30 minutes walk over to another location. And when you walk over there, you just see a bunch of trees just flat. And then you have little pieces of wood chopped all over the place. Around 5 o'clock, you put on some long pants. You put on a good walking shoes. Nothing with your toes exposed. And then you put on some long sleeve. The purpose of the long sleeve is to protect your arm. Because guess what? You're going to be walking and picking up wood to bring and put it down. In the morning, you leave out, probably say you leave out 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock from your house. And then you walk over to the bush where my dad chopped down everything in the land. And now it's time to go ahead and make a coal scale. So you're going to be walking and picking up wood for the entire day and bring them to one location where that is going to be the area that he's going to make the coal scale. Or some people call it coal skilling. Yeah, but it's a process of making coal. All right, so you're burning wood to make coal. You stoop down and you pick up the wood and put it, and then now you bring the wood like this and you walk with it over to wherever the spot was. I remember it's not like the land is like cut down. You have to be stepping over stuff, so you have to be watching, trying to make sure you don't trip and fall, because if you trip and fall, just imagine trip and falling with all of that, wood that you actually pick up. It's not a good look. Bring them and you put them in a circular pattern, because then he's gonna put all this wood in one little dome shape, and then he's gonna cover it with like grass, and then he's gonna cover it with dirt, and then it's gonna stay there. So just imagine doing that for the entire summer. Chop down every single tree in the land there, and then you have to take up all of that wood every summer. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And you're doing that same thing over and over until all the wood is in one location for my dad to actually go ahead now and do. And sometimes you're thinking that it's only one coal scale you're building for the entire summer. By the time you finish that one and you look, there's another location you have to go and pick up more wood, because there's another ear that is chopped down. So that was just our summer. Some summers we will get like sponsorship to go on like a beach trip or something, but for the most part, that's about it for our summer. The older persons in the church, they don't go out that much with the young folks. So what they will do is sponsor a younger person, so that way they can actually go ahead and enjoy, whatever activities that the church has. And that's how sometimes we'll end up going to different church excursion, because like other family members would have paid for us to go and enjoy, you know, ourselves. And so that was summer for us. So just imagine summer is now finished and it's time to go back to school. At this time, I'm wearing green uniform, white blouse to school. I remember you're already gone and you do that. Sometimes it's a case where one of the coal scale is already ready. And so you are now going to actually go and pick up the coal, which is the worst part. It's the worst nightmare because guess what? You go over there and you pick up coal and guess what? When you sneeze, it black. When you, if you're supposed to cry, it black. Your tears look black. If you sweat, it black. And even though you probably wash your hair and all, it still get black because you wash your hair today or you cover your hair because you're picking up the coal. But later on, guess what happened? You still have more coal to go and pick up. And so it's like the black from the dust from the coal itself just not stop coming. And so you're going to school and by the time you get home in the evening, you look at your color net black. It's not a matter of you never bathe, but it's just hard to get out. You go into school and no care how you wash your hand. You wash your hand left, right, center. You scrub it, you cut down your nails. Your fingernails are still black. Your fingerprints are looking black because all of that coal is just embedded within your prints in your palm. And so sometimes it was just like, you know, you feel embarrassed because I remember when we were going to school now and there was a bus that normally come and pick us up in the morning time because there were a few persons in that lane, early B bus. And sometimes early B would come down there, pick us up. But the thing about Earl drives real fast. And then you have a lot of windy road going back into Mandeville. And so depending on the location and you're driving, you're not paying attention or he's going so fast, you're not paying attention. And just remember, those young drivers back then were just, you know, enjoying driving real fast. And so every turn you turn, you have to literally hold on to the back of the seat. You understand? And the thing about it is that you don't want your fingernails to be showing. So you have to be holding on, and this is you holding onto the back of the seat because guess what? Your fingernails are all black. And it's not a matter of you didn't shower, you didn't take a bath or anything like that. It's a matter of the black from the charcoal just cannot come out of your fingernail. It takes days. And even if you decide to brush it out today because you think you're done with the coal, just remember that another coal skill over the bush actually, you know, getting ready. Or if the one that you already pulled down wasn't ready, you have to go back and help out with getting that coal, you know, packed and ready to be sold. And so a lot of times I'm sitting down and I'm like, oh my goodness. People probably wondering why your fingernail looking like that, but they don't understand this is the best of what your fingernail can actually look like given the circumstances, because they probably don't even know all of the work you put in just to get your fingernails looking that clean. Because to me, it was clean. You understand? They don't know, but to them, it probably looks messy. So we used to do that like every summer, picking up coal, walking and dropping off wood so that way my dad can actually get it to make coal. And we did that, and that was just our way of getting certain things done. Because at the time, even though we were on the PATH program, it wasn't enough to cover certain expenses. Because remember, we're going to Mandeville, so it's going to be a taxi or bus ride to Mandeville. I remember we were getting $100 per day for lunch money. And at that time, $100 per day, just do the math with me. $30 to go, $30 to come back, and you're left with $40. Patty and cocoa bread would kill us. Patty and cocoa bread will kill us with Big Joe. I don't know if anybody remember that, but $40 every single day until bus fare decided to go up to $40. So you're left with $20. And all we normally would try to get additional money was we'll start selling Bobby and black cherry and chocolate digestive and all of that stuff. So that way we can get the additional $20. Because at that time, my mom was working, but it wasn't, she was working taking care of kids at another person's house, and she would normally get her little money, and then we'll get the $1,000. So I'll get $500, my sister would get the other $500, and that would be the money for school for the entire week. So we had to make sure we change that money. If you end up and decide to bring $500 to school, you try and know that you hide the money or you keep it safe, because, and so we had to change out that $500 so that way we can actually have it for the week, $100 per day. And as I say, $100 per day, rain or shine, you have to just make sure it works. So we used to sell Bobby and all of those little snacks at school, so that way it can actually help us to get the extra $20. I remember when we finally decided to go ahead and buy KFC. Who told us to go ahead and buy KFC? Because at the end of the day, my dad found out and he wasn't too happy, because he was wondering where we were getting money. But he didn't even understand that the $20, the $40 that we had for lunch, that's what we've been saving, so that way we could actually buy the 2-piece chicken. Imagine me getting $100 per day and $40, and that person getting $300 per day and still wondering why they're getting this little money. Yeah. But the thing about it is that I never really complain. We never really complain about anything. We just take the money and we just do what we're supposed to do. You go to school, you come back home, and that's the most important thing. We eat dinner, we go to bed, get up in the morning, drink tea, go to school, and the cycle was just as is. You understand? I remember some days we never really had money, and so there was a family at church who would normally help us out with money. So sometimes I'll go and I'll be like, Brother X, can you help us out with lunch money today? And he will be, okay, no problem. Sometimes I didn't have to ask. And after church, some evening, discreetly, I'll get a little envelope with something. And by the time you look, it's like $1,000. It's $1,500. But they don't know how helpful that is, because that is basically a week's lunch money for me and my sister. $500 each, and there's an additional $500 until at one point they started doing $2,000. And that was very, very helpful for my parents, because as I say, we did farming, we reared the chicken, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough for, for school or for supplies. Some days I remember when we would go and take the bus to school, and my mom would normally meet Hurley B at the foot of the hill, and she'll say something to him. And I figure more or less the conversation went like, hey, can you take these girls to school? And then I'll pay you whenever I have money, because sometimes she never had it. And so in the evening, you just have to make sure as school finish, you head out, because once you hear that horn, which is, signal that Early B is out in the town, you just want to go get in the bus, because you don't have any money, because you don't want to go on any other taxi that is not aware of the plan that your parents had arranged with the driver. And so that's how we get to school back and forth on certain days. No, it was my dad who purchased an Air Express. And at that time, I was going to Manchester High School. And the Air Express was so big. I never know that Air Express would be that big, because by the time you open the bag, I have to be using baby zipper to actually get the bag to stay together. And even when you put it together, the pins just decide to open up, and then just start making the bag looking more express than it was before. It was huge. And not to mention the shoes that my mom went ahead and buy. She went and buy the shoes, but at the time, people used to mark your foot on paper and then they bring it and buy it. But then you're thinking that, probably the person gonna grow it out, so you buy it a little inch more than the person's regular, shoe size. But the thing about that shoes is that the shoes, whenever you start wearing it, the shoes get so big. So I had to be like doubling up on socks in high school, so that way I can have the shoes feeling as though it fit, or else I have to be doing a fancy kind of walk and then pull back your foot, so that way the shoes you don't walk out of the shoes. I remember one day coming from school, and I literally was walking and was step outside of the shoes, not having any insole in the shoes, because the shoes was not of any good quality. You understand? My parents decided to purchase what they thought. It was the color, brown color for school, but they purchased what they thought was the color, but at the same time, it wasn't any good quality, because I couldn't even fold my foot sometimes in school, because guess what? The bottom of your shoe is gone. The insole gone. So guess what you have to put in there? Cardboard paper. So you just have to cut out the cardboard paper and put it in there. Sometimes you have stacks of cardboard in your shoes. So you just have to be mindful. You have to work around what you have. And that's what we were doing. We would normally use a lamp to do our homework or assignments. Remember, kerosene oil back then was expensive. And you can't be sitting up using kerosene oil for the entire night. And you know that you have the sunlight outside you could have actually take advantage of. No, you have to do that in the evening, come home, do your assignments, and then now in the evening, when it's time to go to bed, then you go to bed. So the government was paying for 4 subjects and I wanted to do a total of 8. And so I went to church as usual and I was like, Brother X, is there any way for you to pay for 1 subject? And he was like, okay, no problem. So he and his wife ended up paying for all 4 subjects, which I was so happy about because I don't know if the other family members would have, because there were instances where I thought they would have, given me a little money, but they were like, oh, Stacey has lunch money already, or this is happening. But even though I probably never really had enough money, I never really said, oh no, I don't have lunch money. Parents weren't like a strict Adventist home. My dad, he never goes to church, but we weren't allowed to be wearing nail polish, shaving eyebrow, wearing makeup and wearing shorts or any of those things in the home. It was more, you have to dress decent. And my mom would go to church every now and again. But we grew up going to church on Saturdays. And that was just something that we look forward to because that was just one way for us to actually get out of the house. Be around people, have something outside of school and home to do. Our parents never really allow us to actually go outside that much. In as much as we were in the country, we never really go outside that much because like 5 o'clock, 5:30, we have to bathe and go in the house and find something and do. You understand? If my mom was doing working outside, then we weren't allowed to get out of the house after 5:30. And that was when we were like in high school. No, you couldn't. You have to stay inside, doors locked. If my father decides that he's gonna be leaving us to go somewhere, doors locked. And then you have to be inside, looking through the window until it gets dark. Or sometimes it'll be inside playing card pack, but my dad never liked that. So we played Ludo. We'll make a Ludo game and then we'll put it under the mattress so that way whenever he's gone, we can actually play it and entertain ourselves. Because guess what? 5:30, sun is very, very hot outside. You understand? Sometimes you just want to go outside and play with the neighbor, but we weren't allowed to do that. At that time, cell phone wasn't like a big thing, When you have a cell phone, it was a big thing though. You understand? Because it means that you have the source of communication. When we got our first cell phone, my mom was working and she was able to buy one of those little Siemens. It was a blue Siemens, Siemens, Siemens phone. And our neighbor, she wanted to make a call. But remember, Bustle Lane is very far out. There's not much of a good signal down there. And so just imagine climbing trees. Yes, climbing trees to actually get to talk on the phone. And I remember there was this cousin of ours who decided to climb into this tree. And when she went up there, the entire community could hear the conversation because she was shouting on top of her voice because the person on the other line probably wasn't hearing properly because of the signal. And that was just something that was very, very funny because we're there and we're like, I wonder if she know how loud she is. Because she's literally shouting and repeating. So that conversation wasn't private any at all because everybody heard the conversation. Sometimes you have to leave the phone like in that little spot so that way if there's one bar, then you can actually hear it ring. And that was just something else. You have one set area in the house that you can pick up 1 or 2 little signal, and that was where the mobile phone was. So the mobile phone now becomes a landline. It stays right there in the corner, lean up. So if anybody move the phone, you know that there's no signal. So you have to leave it right there. I remember when the first time we were walking and the phone decided to ring and we were like, whoa, we already have signal down here. Because as I say, Bustle Lane is not like a very busy area. So that's the last place to actually get electricity. Probably the last place to actually get light, water. The last place to probably even think about getting a cell tower. So yes, that's where I'm from. And even though we had all of this going on for us, we never really complain about anything. We continue to do what we thought was right. You know, we studied, we tried to, you know, do well in school with the little that we had. We never, you know, think of it like, oh, this person is better than us or whatever. No, we just make sure that we try to see how we can actually, you know, get to the next grade, until we were able to graduate. It was in the later years, we finally decided to get a little electricity and then a little running water. You understand? And so my mom was able to use all the appliances or the stuff that she had purchased that was to be operated by electricity. Yes, so she's able to use her deep freezer. Years later, she was able to use her blender. All right, so what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you stay tuned and look for my next video where I'm going to tell you about my college days. Yes, I'm going to tell you about college days, because if you think that $100 in high school was little money, just hear about $500 sharing between two sisters in the year of 20, what was that? Just think of 2009, 2008, 2009, 10, 11. Yeah. Just think of $500 sharing between two persons to help out with college lunch money. Yeah, stay tuned. As usual, I would love for you to like, share, subscribe, tell your friends about this channel, and I'd love for you to let me know your comments as we move forward.